we're looking at the member benefit. The InstanetForms only, you see at the top center of the screen, there are 3 links: InstanetForms, Transactions, and Contacts. Those are the 3 services that you have through your member benefit. So when you're creating transaction files, I was going to quickly take a look at a file so you can see the features. I'm going to click here on Transactions. So you can see the features of a transaction file. Hopefully this also emphasizes to you that you can always come back and work with your transactions. Once you set one up, you can come back at any time, add it, update it, revise it, work with it, deliver it, and so forth. So within your existing member benefit, when you create a transaction file, you can manage these features: typing up forms, complete forms packets, emailing services, contacts, and property information, and the dashboard of red bullet points here on the left-hand column. And in the center of the third of the screen, center third, left-hand side, red bullet points are referred to as the dashboard. So within the dashboard, create a transaction file, type up your forms, integrated with your Telluride Association MLS account, so you can import property information and really manage the sale process up to typing up the form packet. Beyond that, you're kind of still dealing with managing signed contracts and getting contracts signed and all of those follow-ups to actually typing up the form. So this is what you currently have as a member benefit. What we want to focus on is what else you can add. So I'm going to tab over now to a full version of TransactionDesk, seeing all the features, all the services that you can add to your existing account. So just looking from left to right, I guess, that second row of links again, because that's where we're going to see the predominant number of additional features that have been added. When you add the task portion, you get calendar and tasks, so that you can manage that type of workflow, those to-do items that you have through that sale process. So task management can be added, along with the calendar component can be added to your existing account. Contacts you already have. DocBox and contacts, I shouldn't go past it too quickly, but contacts, unlimited online storage for prospects and contacts. There are integrations with Top Producer and Microsoft Outlook, so you can import contacts in there. You can add them manually and manage your contacts in that database. DocBox, moving from left to right across the top row of links. DocBox is the document manager, unlimited online document storage. 4 different types of toll-free faxing, uploading documents to your online, to the cloud, document management in the cloud. DocBox print drivers to virtually upload or virtually print any document to upload, fax, or email. Right through that file print menu of any document, you install a print driver and you can virtually upload, email, or fax any document from the print menu. DocBox to go, our mobile, so you can access your online transactions, your completed forms, your stored documents through a website optimized for mobile browsing for smartphones, iPhones, Blackberries, Treos. So DocBox is a major document management component, and we'll take a little bit deeper look at that through this session. DocBox. Right, so because the document manager for signed, ratified contracts, for surveys and home inspections and settlement statements and pre-qualification letters and all of that documentation, signed, ratified, binding documents that you receive throughout that sale process. You can save them online, access them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week from any internet-enabled device. The forms component you already have, so you can see that that component is there and available as well. These features are in addition to that forms component. Providers, when you add the calendar and task component, you get the providers as well, so that you can submit third-party service requests when you have that home inspection, or you have that survey requirement, or you want the person to come and stage the home for you. You can generate those requests right through your transaction file. All different types of online transaction management services within TransactionDesk. I'm going to skip transactions just for a moment. We will come back to that. But Authentisign. Authentisign is a digital signature component, and I would say probably if you're thinking about adding any one of these immediately to your account, For me, it's Authentisign for the digital signature. So once you type up forms, get them signed digitally. No more tracking down ink signatures on paper pages, emailing and faxing, and dealing with those paper cycles and trying to track down legible documents after they go through all those paper cycles. The digital signature just makes it so much easier, convenient, expedient, all those things working with Authentisign digital signatures. Nice thing about Authentisign in combination with InstanetForms are Authentisign signing templates, where for the Telluride and Colorado forms, as you type them up in InstanetForms and import them into Authentisign, signature blocks and initial blocks are going to be pre-plotted. It's going to look at, okay, it's the listing agreement. Everywhere there's a seller requirement, it's going to be plotted with that initial and signature. So those features are integrated between the Forms program and Authentisign digital signatures. But it all comes really down to transactions when you're working with, when you're working in TransactionDesk. Imagine that, TransactionDesk and transactions. So as I click here on transactions, we looked at one previously, right, in the Forms only view, and we had forms and contacts and a few features. When we access our transaction files in a full TransactionDesk account, let's just go to that. Let's go to practice tasks. Clicking on that file name, going to open that transaction file, review the additional features of the online file. Look at the red bullet points now. There's just more features. The DocBox feature for signed, ratified contracts of this transaction file. The Authentisign feature to integrate this transaction file right into online signings. The task component to build those office checklists and manage them online, assign those tasks to the appropriate parties, get those tasks completed as you go through that sale process. So these are the additional add-on features to your existing member benefit. You see it all played out right here within the online transaction file. We're looking at the overview page. This is where we can see all of the features that we have added. And with the forms only, you see forms and contacts. That's the two features. We've added documents for online document management. We've added tasks. We haven't added any tasks, but we have that task component turned on within this account. I would be remiss. I just like to talk about it every time. This "I would like to" phrases, because it really is one of the most essential features of TransactionDesk. If you're not recognizing these phrases in association with these drop-down menus, you're missing out on 85% of the features that are available to you in TransactionDesk. Every time you see that phrase, "I would like to," it's going to be in association with one of these drop-down menus. These little triangles, just keep your eyes out for these little upside-down triangles. They yield menus of services. We are in the functional page of the transactional overview. Well, what would we like to do within this overview page? Print forms to PDF, merging them all together, add contacts, archive the file, import data into the file, one of those lower down there, so we can import property information or tax IDs or transaction templates into our existing file. So one nice feature is kind of often hidden in that drop-down menu, the opportunity to import property information into an existing file. But just these "I would like to's," open them up, see the features that are in there to manage that workflow and that sale process through these entirely web-based applications. So what we can do, we can start a new transaction file, we can walk through those steps, we can see those features that we can add, the components that we can add. If you have questions, want to see specific features, please don't hesitate to type that into the chat section of the GoToTraining sidebar. We'll be reviewing those questions and requests as we go through this demonstration, try to work in those into the demonstration. But really trying to demonstrate the additional features of adding transaction management components to your existing Telluride member benefit. So full transaction file. Hopefully that will at least give you the sense of all the additional features. Now we can run through a file to see how they kind of all integrate with one another, especially forms, Authentisign, and DocBox, how these three features integrated. We type up forms. We get digital signatures with Authentisign. We have those signed copies saved online in our transaction files in that document DocBox component. So with that said, I'm going to just mind here just for a second. I'm going to copy this MLS number so I show that integration to everybody. And we're going to go to transactions. I'm in the top third of the page, shading to the right just a little bit there at the transactions link. I want to go back to that transactions page where we can see the transaction files that we've created, functional page of our transactions. There's that I would like to phrase. There's that drop-down menu. Open them up. See what's in there. This way you can mark your files as different status types. We can create new transactions. We can delete selected transactions. So on all these functional pages, the functional page of transaction, we have choices. What would we like to do? It might not always be the choices that you want, but there are certainly choices in there. The choice that I'm choosing, I would like to create a new transaction. Click on the Go arrow. Call it the Go arrow because if you hover your mouse there for any length of time, you're going to see that little bubble pop up. For just that says Go. So we're going to start a transaction here. I'm going to try to do this pretty quickly. If I had a transaction template set up for this demo account, I could probably start it even more quickly. But in the instance, it is what it is. Let's just start that new buyer, and it's going to be Joseph, and see what I did there? You thought that was going to be their first name, but that was their last name, and they're a single-family residential buyer. And you know, TransactionDesk doesn't really see a difference between buyers and sellers. We do, as the agents, as the people inputting the data. TransactionDesk is just we're just feeding it the data that we have for this particular. So you're saying, I'd really like to see a listing. It's the same steps. We would just choose a different name, perhaps, and a different transaction type. And really from here down, if I start adding this content to my transaction file type, none of it's required, but I am going to benefit from adding this detail to my file. Import from the MLS, here it is. If we have identified a property, we can import it now. I'm going to skip that step for now. I'm going to show you import from the existing file. We can populate our new file from an existing one. So if we have a previous residential sale file that we'd like to use, we can do that. Follow-up webinar sessions talk about how to create templates. This really is the highest and best use, most efficient way to start new transaction files, to automatically include forms and documents and tasks to that new file. We have webinars that are called Build Better Transactions, and using those templates is really the way to maximize the amount of items that can be automatically added to your new files. I am going to identify myself as the selling agent. We are going to use the wizard to quickly walk through the steps of our, elements is probably a better word than steps, because we're going to go through all the elements, the forms element, the document element, the task element, and we're going to add the details that we have, starting with ourselves as the agent and our broker as the office, if this account is actually set up as in an office. But bottom right corner, starting the transaction. I'm really going to try to do this in a quick pace. When I go through these steps, my hope is that you've taken or been using the forms component so far, and now are just more interested in adding these additional features. So I'm not going to try to spend too much time training you how to set up a file, but showing you where those additional integration points are and the functionality that they offer. Pop-up message, every time you start a new file, you're going to get this pop-up unless you choose otherwise to do not show this message again. The message about the wizard is just going to walk us through, give us a chance to start adding some content to our new file. Think of your file, in my opinion, think of it as a replacement of that manila folder, because right now in the forms only account, you're not really going paperless yet. You're typing up your forms online, but that's very far away from a paperless transaction. Adding Authentisign really gets you a lot closer in one step to that paperless, because you type up the online form and you get it signed digitally. There's no paper cycle to get signatures. That is taken care of online through the web-based application. So property information, first step, the first element, if you will, of our file. Do we have property information? Have we identified one? If we have, we can manually type it in. I'm going to show you how we can import that here in just a bit. Clicking on Next. Blue Next buttons, top third of the page, right-hand side. Each time, I'm just going to skip through a couple of these. Some dates. Do I have any dates? Nothing's required. Just to show it, these blue icons are the date pop-up. So as I click there, it's going to pop up the date field, and I can pick a date from the calendar. Maybe I know it's a reload and I just need to get them closed by that particular date. I don't know. Add it in, come back at any time, and add this. Dates take on a little bit more of a fundamental feature. As I click here on Next, as I added my dates, dates will auto-populate your form fields, so we will get the auto-population feature from our dates. Dates also drive due dates for your tasks, so you can base that final walkthrough on your closing date. You can say 5 days before the closing date, we want to schedule that walkthrough. When you add the closing date to your file, your walkthrough task gets a due date. We do want to add our buyer client. I would like to. There's that phrase, consistent phrase. Now, there's not a whole bunch of options in here, but there's always a couple. We want to go with adding the new, so clicking the arrow to go to the next functional step of adding our contact. In this case, it is going to be that buyer contact. Selecting buyer from the list. This add transaction contact type, if you didn't see the buyer or the seller or the type of contact you wanted to add to your file, manage that drop-down list. We want a buyer, we're clicking continue, and then this is where we add our buyer's name. And our buyer's name was Tammy, or is Tammy Joseph. You can see I'm manually typing this in. I'm adding whatever features I have. What do I know about Tammy so far? Maybe a cell phone number, maybe lucky enough to get an email account, something like that. Those new buyers can be a little bit squirrely about the information they're giving out. But add what you have. Bottom left corner, bottom third, bottom left, adding to my contacts. Because I slide over to the right here to save the contact information, two things are going to happen. By selecting that checkbox, two things will happen. As I save the contact, Tammy is added to my transaction file. Tammy is saved to my contact database so that I can insert Tammy into future transaction files, into outbound email messages or faxes or Authentisign signings. All of those are integrated with that contacts feature. If there are multiple buyers, husbands and wives, brothers and sisters, we want to add them in separately. You want to add them in separately, even if you typically save them as one contact. You want to add them to your file as two. They are individuals. They both have signature requirements. Their names will want to auto-populate into printed name fields. We add them in separately so that we benefit from all those features. I know they are one contact, but they are two individual people, so we add them as individual contacts to the file. Next, from the contacts to the forms element. Do we want to add forms? I think we do. I would like to add forms. We're going to go to the forms library, pick a couple forms here, and this is where transaction templates can really start picking up steam for you, to be able to predetermine forms, to be able to associate documents and tasks to the new file. Individual form library. In this case, we're going to go down to the sales contracts there, the buy and sell residential, selecting that one. A couple more here we're going to grab. I'm going to expand that disclosures to get that brokerage one for pressing right now. So now I'm not holding the control key. Now I'm going to press and hold, click to select the additional. I am no longer holding the control key. As I go down to the next one, I'm now going to press and hold the control key and select the additional. Go through, add all of the forms that you will require for this particular type of transaction, or at least the ones you know of now. This is just the first pass. You don't have to get them all right. I'm just going to add 3, and I'm going to add them to my transaction, because your transaction is a ever available online file where you can go get more forms, add more to your transaction as they become required. You can come back to your file and continue to add those features. So I grab 3, add forms now through the first pass, or certainly as we continue to move forward. So none of that is new to you, right? That's all pretty much what you could do, but as part of your existing member benefit, that's kind of where it ends. You come to the end of the wizard once you add your forms. If you add the DocBox component, you can upload documents. So maybe you have a standard document. It's not in your forms library, right? Forms are online and fillable and found in the forms library. InstanetForms are fillable. Documents are everything else. They're predominantly the signed, ratified contracts and other documents, pre-qualification letters that you'll get for buyers, surveys and settlement statements, and that documentation that you receive throughout the sale process that you can upload back in. But maybe there's even a home service warranty contract, or there's other documents that you want to add to your online file. We have fax cover sheets for the 4 different faxing services, but you can also scan and upload, or you can use the DocBox print driver to get documents online to the cloud document storage. So document feature. The next button to tasks. I'm going to add some tasks because just that workflow, I can import them. We have a bunch of system values that you could use if they're a benefit to you. Task templates are kind of the individual items. It's order the survey, get pre-qual letter, call for showings, things like that. It's the work that you need to complete. So task templates are those individual items. Activity plans, as I'm going to click here, are groups of these items. So I'm going to choose that buyer prospect residential sale. Activity plan. I'm going to add this activity plan to my transaction file. So the activity plan consists of 8 or 9 task templates. Now tasks, I've mentioned that dates take on a little bit more. So let's go to that pre-qual letter. Clicking on the pre-qual letter, this is where you can really specify the task. And this is the due date that I like here, the one where we can define the number of days. So we want that pre-qual letter, 2 days on, before, or after a particular date within our transaction file. Something like that. Whatever it would be, closing date, final walkthroughs, things like that. You can base your tasks on dates within your transaction file. Manage that task. Be notified by email when those tasks are coming due. Assign the appropriate parties to your task, not only yourself, but participants to your transaction. Anybody that you shared your transaction file with become available assignees. Notify them when they are assigned. Be notified when there's any change of the status. Task management, saving task, bottom right corner, bottom third, bottom right, saving the task. Generate that workflow that needs to be completed. Save and exit from the wizard. Top third of the page, save and exit. We've gone through the steps. We've started a new file. We've added some content to our file. More content than we had previously. But now maybe we want to type them up. We're going to quickly go to Authentisign. Before we do, just want to come in here. Well, I would like to, right? There's that phrase, import data. This is what I mean, where you can import property information or templates or other content into your existing file at any time. Especially when you're representing buyers. You're not going to have that property typically at that first substantive conversation. Importing data, bottom, middle third, right side. MLS provider, property type, condominium, MLS ID, import data. You're going to be showing property. You're going to start your file. You're going to get your agency set up and your disclosure signed. And you're going to start showing properties. And a day, a week, a month into showing properties, they're going to identify a property. At that point, you can import the property into your existing file. Populate your contracts with that identified property, address, city, state, zip, and so forth. So a lot of these features are the same. You have that in your member benefit now. That's not new. But just so you can see some more of the content that came in, our buyers a contact, listing broker came in, seller came in, listing agent, they all came in from that MLS import. Our tasks that have been added, our forms, our documents. I'm going to the forms from the dashboard, left-hand column, red bullet points, we're going to the Forms section of this transaction file. I would like to, every functional page, InstanetForms in this case, has a I would like to menu. I would like to auto-populate my forms. This is a great feature here. We want to make sure, as I click on that arrow, that the content that we've added to our transaction file, the details, the dates, the contacts, we want to make sure that that content is populating our forms. That's where we do it. That's where we get our transaction details into our form fields. Let's just go to that broker disclosure. Just going to click on the form name now to launch the form in Forms Editor. Not going to spend a lot of time. Hopefully you've all done this. Not too much different than what you're doing already, but feigning coming in here. This is the progress. You started your file. You're typing up the form. Then we're going to deliver it outbound using Authentisign here. We're going to use Authentisign to generate a digital signature. Invite our new client or prospect into that complete that signature requirements. Pardon my mouse for a moment. Nice column of forms here. The red minus sign to collapse those through, type up your form. I have a buyer. And buyer reference working property described as, where are we going, single family residential, SFR, SF residential, something to that effect. Tab key is a nice one. Tab to go to the next fillable field, type, or paste to add the details to your forms and contracts. And that's right, I said paste. So as you copy to your computer's clipboard, so to speak, you can paste to those form fields. Go through, type up your forms, multi-office, we'll just do this one, multi-office, customer, the following tasks to show. Can we choose them both? Yes, we're definitely going to be doing both of those. Oh wait, that's not what I want. Sorry. Got to read before I choose. I think we're going with that. Transaction and brokerage. Broker's not. Wait, I don't want that one either. I'm going with leaving those blank. Scrolling down. Dates, names. This is why we add multiple contacts so that each will populate those name fields. Our name populated the broker field. Type up your forms and contracts. Exiting out from the form editor. Well, let me just point out, once I type up one form, I go expand that top third, right-hand side, expanding that column to then go to the next one. Click on the form name. Prompted to save my changes. Absolutely, always love to show that prompt. Allow pop-ups from TransactionDesk so that you get these prompts. So you can go through and be saved from yourself by them acknowledging that, hey, you made changes that weren't saved. You will be prompted to save those changes. Type forms, exiting from form editor. So I always like to show how you can get from one form to the next, fast, easy, convenient. We've typed up our forms. Now we want to prepare them for digital signatures. Dashboard, left-hand column of the screen there, red bullet points, clicking on Authentisign, integrated to your InstanetForms account so that we're immediately logged in. I can click Create New Signing. Our signing is going to be launched, integrated with our transaction file. And this is going to just be the buyer, it's agency disclosure and buyer rep agreement, something like that. Name your files, or your signings, excuse me, name your signings so that you're going to identify them. These are unique events. You're first going to get the agency sign. Then you'll have purchase contracts at a later date, maybe some amendments or addendums, maybe that final settlement statement. So you could go through 5 or 6 or 7 unique signing events with each client through that sale process. Name them so that you can identify them. Click on the blue Next button. First functional step to give it a name. Second functional step to start adding your signers. Just to go quickly through here, I'm just going to choose, let's see, I always want to choose myself, but it just makes for more signing participants. So we're just going to go with Tammy here. We're going to add her in as a signer. We're going to talk about these different types of reviewer and carbon copy. I just want to keep moving forward. I'm going to add Tammy. We also want to show you that we're prompted with that transaction file information, the name, the contacts, what we'll see here in forms. But we can also add these features manually. I can add a participant. Anybody that you would require an ink signature on a paper page, you want to add as a participant to get a digital signature on a digital page. Name, first, middle, last, email address. Are they a signer? Do they have signature requirements? Are they a reviewer? Maybe it's your broker and you want to pass it by your broker first before it goes to the signer. The broker doesn't have any, your managing, sponsoring broker doesn't have any signature requirements, but you want them to review it, see the contracts, and accept it to then move forward. Just an example. Carbon copy only. Maybe this is your lender or your title officer. This person is only going to receive a copy of the final signed ratified. Maybe it's the cooperating agent. After you get a purchase agreement signed, you add that cooperating agent as the CC only. Your client sign it, it's delivered immediately to that cooperating agent. So CC only, their only participation is in the getting a copy of the final signed. And as you add your participant, you want to think about it as you're building their signature to a certain extent. Authentisign is going to use that name first, middle, and last to first generate the initials. It's also going to use that naming to build their signature blocks as well. The participant will add the flash and the font, more just the font. Authentisign will add the name to the block. The participant clicks and applies their font to that naming feature. Type here, this drop-down is going to become more important as we generate these Authentisign templates. Authentisign will start looking for these types and associate them with required signatures or initials on the forms that we're going to import. Nice integration between InstanetForms and Authentisign is the opportunity for those templates to be used. So get your signing participants in there, whether they have signing requirements, reviewing requirements, or carbon copy requirements, get them in. Clicking Next. Being prompted by our transaction file, integrated. What forms do you want to have signed? Well, let's go with that broker's disclosure and definitions of working relationships. Going to add those in. And add those typed up forms. Those are our typed up forms from our transaction file. We typed them up. We are now going to get signatures and initials. We can also upload files. Top third of the page, left-hand side, upload. So from your saved C drive on your computer or USB thumb drive, where you have those documents saved offline, if you will, you can upload them into your signing. Opportunities there. Any document, Word document, Excel spreadsheet, PDF, image file, you can upload those documents into your signing. We are importing from our online file. We can also upload from our offline saved documents. So upload them in. Select them from your forms library, your typed up forms. Import them from your online stored documents. Get the documents into your signings. Clicking on Next. To now prepare them. We've uploaded them now or added them in, whether we imported them from our transaction, uploaded them from our desktop computer. We're now going to prepare them. We're going to plot where the signature and initial requirements go, so that we can deliver these to our client to accept. That's all our client's doing, is clicking to accept these blocks that we are about to place. Thumbnails, left-hand column here, thumbnails, clockwise, navigation tools to zoom in, zoom out. I like the fit width, kind of pulls those margins out. Drawing tools are nice for line draw. Someone actually finally put a word to it for me there, redaction. So if you want to strike something over or redact it, you can use that line annotation to strike over. You can use the text here, this T font, to add little text boxes to your Authentisign document here, so we can make those types of micro adjustments. I certainly would not suggest that you try to type up your entire form using these line draw and font, but you can make minor adjustments. You can do a redaction or strike over. If you want to strike out some content on the contract, you can use that text or T font there to add little text boxes and create that content. So drawing tools, part of the Authentisign. Signing party. Now we only have one. They are highlighted. We only have one signing party. If we had multiple, we'd see multiple in the signing list. Whomever is highlighted is the person we are dragging and dropping for. So let's scroll down this page, see if there's any requirements here. I don't think there are typed up there, but next page, I believe, next page of the file, we are going to drag and drop. So there's Tammy's name, pasted, she's highlighted. I'm going to click and hold, drag and drop that signature block onto the page. Right now we have right-click menus. So as I hover my mouse, see right now it's a hand, my mouse is a hand, spinning in circles. It's a hand. As I hover on the block itself, see how it changes to that crosshair, if you will? Now I get to use the underutilized right mouse button on my mouse, the right mouse button, to yield this menu. I could delete this block, I could flip it, I can add a date stamp to it. That's the one I want to look at here, is add the date stamp, clicking there. Put that into the appropriate. So if we had more buyers, or we would add drag and drop. Let me do initial for you just so we can see that drag and drop again. Click and hold. I'm clicking and holding my mouse and drag out that block onto the page. Every block has a right mouse menu. As I hover on the block, use the right mouse button to click, to remove the block, to add a date stamp, to add that full name. Add name block's pretty cool. If I choose that, you see it gives a full name. Maybe if I needed it to populate into that field. We typed it so it showed up already, but maybe you forgot it and you can put it in that way. Go through. Wherever we would require an ink signature on a paper page, we want to get a digital signature on the digital page. Click and hold to drag and drop. Right-click to yield the menus to add those additional time and name and other features. Even the date stamps have a right-click. As you hover on that, you can right-mouse click on it to delete it or format it. So, plotted. We just did. We plotted our signature requirements. Clicking on Next. Blue Next button, top center of the screen. We prepared. Now we're going to deliver. We're going to send out that invitation. I can go back before I do. Left-hand side of the screen, I can go back to any step. Change the signing name. Add more signing participants. Import or upload more forms or documents. Add more signature initial blocks. Right now we're reviewing and sending. We can customize the outbound invitation. This email is customizable. I can adjust the subject line of the invitation. I can add content to the body of the message. So we're just going to call this the buyer agency and definition of working relationships. I think that's what it was called. And messages, please review and sign or call with questions, something like that, just so you can see the customizations that we have, opportunity, saving those changes. To add a little bit of customization to the subject line and the email message that we're now going to send by clicking Finalize Details. Like any good program, it's not going to take our first click as our final answer, so we are going to want to now finalize and send. And we want to make sure that, yes, we've added all our forms, we've added all our participants and plotted all the appropriate signatures, initials. I'm going to finalize and send. Now I can reset it, but for the most part, the document is now locked down. The initial and signature requirements have been plotted. The email invitation has been sent. You see here our signing. As I slide over to the right, I can follow the status. I can delete the signing. I can reset it. Reset it basically will rescind the email invitation. It will allow me to kind of start right where I left off. If I wanted to go and add a couple more features, if I forgot to add myself, I could go back in and add myself. But don't worry about that as much either, because once you get your documents all signed by other parties, you can take that final document and upload it into a new signing and add your own signatures or initials or whatever has been missed. So it can always be added to and compounded that way, if you will. will always have access to this this online signing. Come back, review it, because there are some we'll be able to continue to do. If we realize we sent it to the wrong email address, we could edit the email address, resend the last revision to the required participant. There's that phrase again, I would like to. There's that drop-down menu, see the history, resend the last revision to the required participant. Get that invitation resent. But for now, I'm going to pause my screen. This will be a great time for questions as I quickly get logged into that email account to show that first step here. I always like to kind of show that first participant. The invitation that's delivered, the first steps. That part starts showing my screen again. You can see that we have gotten the email message. And you can see the ones below it, just the generic ones, Authentisign invitation, so forth. We added the BA-DWR to customize ours, that buyer agency and definition of working relationships. So click on the second, and just like opening any email message. Little greetings. Here's our message that we added. Please review and sign. Call with questions. They're going to click here on the words, or more likely on the big blue button. Click there to start the signing process. First part for anybody who's participating, yourself included. Pardon my mouse for a moment as I collapse that go-to training sidebar. You're going to review the terms of service and create a profile for yourself. The terms of service is that you are participating in online e-signature process, that this contracts are legal and binding real estate documents and sale process. So you want to make sure that you are agreeing to the fact that, yes, I'm participating and this is legal and binding, and then create a profile. Your username is your email address. Your password is whatever you would like it to be. For whomever is participating, they will create this password. And only they and Authentisign will know what it is. You will not know your client's passwords. Only they will know, and Authentisign. They can do some password retrievals, as can you, because you all are kind of participating on the same level here. Bottom third of the page, left-hand side, I'm going to modify the font style. Remember, Authentisign created the block and added the name and to the block. This is where the participant adds their style. And it doesn't have to mirror their handwritten style. They just have to agree that the unique identity and signature are approved as electronic representation when using Authentisign e-signature. So it could be ABC for all you care. If that's what you would want it to be, that's what you can generate your signature. Confirm and accept. Bottom third, shading to the right, of confirming and accepting and authenticating. I am who I say I am. I am agreeing to participate. I am saying that the signature is approved for business. Accessing the documents now. The two highlighted ones in the thumbnails are the ones with requirements. Same thing, going clockwise, zoom in, zoom out, fit width. Click the Start Signing button to locate and highlight the first signing block. Start signing, big red button, top right corner. There, because Authentisign will locate and highlight the first signing block. The participant need only click to accept. Clicking to accept, it adds that font style. Date stamp takes me to the next block. In this case, the initial. Clicking to accept, font is added. Name is stamped. Final, we have one item remaining. Final signature. Clicking to accept. Stamped. Features added. We have 0 items remaining, but we're not done, and we can still reject the signing. So I want to go through now and make sure I read everything, make sure I understand the contents of the contract and agreements that I'm signing. I can reject it at any time before I click Done and Accept All twice, right? I can still stay in review. Otherwise, I'm going to complete the signing. I'm confident I read through it. I understand what I'm getting myself into, and I'm going to complete that signing. Otherwise, I stay in review, I read it, I reject it if I don't understand it, and I go forward that way. But we're completing it, and now to show the integration between Authentisign back to our transaction files. Right before we do, a little thank you, successful completion. This signing participant can come back at any time, re-log in using their email address and password to review the history. They can't make any changes. They've confirmed and accepted, and their portion is done. They can come back if there are multiple signing participants to kind of see the progress, but otherwise they're completed. And I'm going to close down that. That's the email account. Tabbing back over to our Authentisign. I'm going to refresh this page. Logged out. Bear with me for a second here as I get logged back in. Good time for questions. Next step we're going to show is how that document has been reapplied back into the DocBox of our transaction file. Talk about the document manager a little bit more as we wind out this session. About 3 or 4 clicks from being back in there. All right, back to our Authentisign. Just wanted to show again the updates as it went through. Status is completed. As I click on the signing name, we'll see the revisions, the final document. It's all here. It's all complete, and it will be retained here as well within our Authentisign. The final document contains all signatures. Everyone who participated in the signing got a copy. Whatever their participation level, as a signer, as a reviewer, as a CC only, they get a copy of that final document. Clicking to return no time, they can come back at any time, review, access, deliver. But now we're going to go back to the forms, top third of the page, top right-hand corner, InstanetForms Pro. Clicking that to go back to our transaction file. Clicking on Transactions. Second row links, Transactions. Tammy Joseph, clicking on the file name to re-access that transaction file. So we went through, we started a file, we typed up forms. We prepared the typed up forms with Authentisign for digital signatures. When the signature signing event was complete, from the dashboard here I'm clicking on Documents, that red bullet point. The final document was delivered to our online transaction file to be saved for state-required retention periods. What else can I do with it? I can certainly deliver it outbound. If I need to send this to somebody, I can email it. It's a PDF attachment. I can even send it as a link. It might be the better way. Let me see, email selected. Clicking on the arrow. I can deliver this outbound. I would say send it as a link. Give somebody a link to that online document. Nice feature about sending as a link. When your recipient clicks on the link to open the document, you're notified. You know that they've clicked on it. You know that they reviewed it. When you send it out as a PDF attachment, I don't want to call PDF a dumb attachment, but it's a dumb attachment. You have no follow-up. You have no feedback loop that they ever received it, they ever looked at it, they ever took any action with it. When you send it as a link, you know the moment they click on it to open and review. Little method to the madness here. Again, accessing, so you just select contacts. I'm in the email details. Just for my contacts, remember we added Tammy to our database. So this is so we can select and add her in. Anytime you send anything outbound, this is all part of the DocBox component, online store document. Anytime we email or fax or deliver outbound, DocBox is going to ask, do you want to include a cover sheet? This is the faxing component. This fax-backed cover sheet will allow senders, yourself, your clients, your cooperating agents, will allow them to fax directly back to your transaction file. So yes, we do want to include the cover sheet. Yes, I do want to be notified when that fax cover sheet is used and a fax is returned. I'm going to be notified by email, and I'm going to also get a copy of that return fax as a PDF attachment to the email. So as I'm going to click here on Send Email now. So I'm sending out this link to the signed document, including a fax cover sheet, and sending the email. Hopefully the fax back cover sheet kind of in the name, right? Hopefully the function is in the name. Anybody who uses this cover sheet, I'm going to click on it now so we can see the cover sheet. This is one way to get PDF documents back into your online account. for different faxing. Hopefully you see anything we can have online, typed up forms, saved documents can be faxed outbound. Internet faxing. You don't need to be within 1,000 miles of a fax machine to send an outbound fax. You are instructing DocBox to complete that action. DocBox completes the outbound send, emails you a notification when that has been successfully sent. The fax back cover sheet is for inbound faxing. It's for faxing inbound into your online transaction file. It is a generic cover sheet. The toll-free number, 400,000 licensed users use this toll-free number. It is the barcode that is unique. The barcode contains your account information, your transaction file information. As your senders pile pages onto that fax machine, they put this cover sheet on top. They dial the toll-free number. Our receiving faxes read the barcode, convert that paper fax to PDF, deliver the PDF to your transaction file. These cover sheets essentially turn fax machines into scanners. You feed the fax machine paper with the cover sheet on top. The output is a PDF document directly to your online transaction file. Different types of faxing services. Another type of faxing service that we offer is called InstanetForms. It's the same barcode and cover sheet, but it generates outbound email messages and delivers PDF attachments to email recipients. Same barcode technology, but different PDF outcome. So that's one way. I'm going to close this document here. I'm going to close this PDF because many of you are going, well, I don't fax anymore. I have an all-in-one. I have the fax, copy, scanner, printer that I've never printed on before, but I do scan and fax and copy on it sometimes. But I really prefer to scan. I prefer to scan my paper pages to a file saved locally on my computer. Great. Continue to do that. I would like to drop the menu, upload a document. Click on Go so that you can upload that document into your transaction. Add. We're just going to find that locally saved document, and we're going to upload it to our transaction file by clicking Add Selected Documents. Why? Why would I do that? It seems like extra time. I already have it saved on my computer. Why would I want to upload it to my online transaction file? Back to the document manager. Sorry, my mouse kind of fluttered there. That's a good question, valid question. Is that more staff? Is it taking me more time? Well, it took us about 10 seconds to add the document in, but now it's online. Now it's in the cloud. Now I can access it from anywhere. So when you're walking through the store or you're at the top of the slope and you get a call from that cooperating agent, hey, I could really use a copy of the seller's disclosure. Today you might say, oh man, well, I'll send it to you tonight when I'm back in front of my computer. If you put your documents in the cloud and you have your cell phone in your pocket, you pull your cell phone out and you say, where would you prefer, an email or a fax? Where can I send that to you? Because you have direct access to it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week from any internet-enabled device. Immediate access to your online documents. Take that opportunity to put them online, manage them from anywhere. So with that said, we're right at that 20, or it felt like 24 hours probably to most of you, but we're right at that hour mark. We've talked about a lot of the additional transaction management functions that are available in addition to the Telluride member benefit. I'm going to go back to the overview page here of our transaction file. I am going to continue to back out. This is our transaction file. Again, as part of the member benefit, you get the forms component, middle third of the screen, InstanetForms. You can also add contacts to your transaction file. The DocBox component, the tasks component, the Authentisign component, those are the ones that we went over today that would be in addition, that you can just go quickly to this shopping cart in the top right-hand corner, top third, top right, that little shopping cart. That's where you can immediately access and purchase these upgrades to your Telluride member benefit. With that said, I'm going to go back to home. I'm going to re-raise this audio message. And as part of this, I just want to show this, not going to go through all the steps, but I want to talk about the DocBox print driver by going to the top of this audio message, the file drop down, and print. You can virtually print any document to upload, fax, or email by upgrading to the DocBox and installing the print driver. This is kind of it's a way that you can access your account, access your DocBox right through that file and print to upload email or fax right from that document. So great little tools to manage that transaction online using all of these web-based applications. If you have questions, please do continue to type them into that go-to training sidebar. We'll continue to review them and answer them as we wind out. If you're not really sure what questions that you have, webinars at Instanet Solutions. When you think of the questions, email us, webinars@instanetsolutions.com. We will follow up timely and appropriately to those questions being presented. If you prefer to call rather than buy online, 800-668-8768. It's a dual number for sales and support. Same number, different options. I think sales is option 1, support is option 2. 800-668-8768. If you would like more webinar sessions, anything from a little, maybe you want to see that little 5-minute overview on the DocBox print driver, or the little 5-minute overview on DocBox to go, the mobile website, youtube.com/Instanet webinars. Pardon me. Access to all of those little 1 to 5-minute tutorials, all the way up to 60-minute overview sessions, just like the session that we're in today. So with that said, I do appreciate the time, energy, and effort that you to attend today. Please let us know how we can best assist you going forward. And until we webinar again, I hope you have a tremendous, tremendous day.